Alaikum. I hope you are all well. After a long time, I start to make lectures again on the linguistic topics which I will focus most. And today, our topic is grammar in cognitive linguistics. In traditional linguistics theory, is especially formalist approaches. Grammar is usually limited to syntax and morphology, that is, sentence structures and word formations. However, in cognitive linguistics, grammar has much broader meaning. According to the cognitive perspective, grammar represents the entire system of linguistic knowledge stored in the mind of a speaker. This system integrates multiple components of language, such as phonology, sound patterns of language, and morphology, structure and formation of words, syntax, the arrangement of words in a sentence, and semantics means the meanings of words in sentences. Therefore, grammar is not an isolated module but a network of interconnecting linguistic knowledge that reflects how speakers actually use to language in communication. This idea is strongly emphasized in the work of Ronald Leonker. Um, for example, the cat is sleeping. To understand this sentence involves multiple aspects of grammar, such as phonology, the pronunciation of sounds like cats, cat, and sleeping, and morphology. The word sleeping contains the root word sleep and the suffix ing, and the syntax. The sentence follows a subject verb structure. Here we cannot say that sleeping the dog cat is, or yeah, the sleeping cat is. These are a wrong way to say, but we follow the subject verb agreement of grammar. So the cat is sleeping. And semantics, of course, so this sentence conveys the meaning that a cat is currently engaged in the activity of sleeping. In cognitive linguistics, all these aspects together to form a grammar and unit of language, that is constructions. A language is made up of small units called a constructions. A construction is defined as a form and as meaning pairs. So it is also called a symbolic assemblies or constructions. And a form means a linguistic structure, that is sounds and words in meaning. The concept or the message or idea is expressed, is conveyed through the sentence. This construction ranges from small units to very large structures, such as words, idioms, phrases, sentence structures. If we talk about the words, the word dog, form its form will be the sound pattern is dog, and the meaning and the concept of the concept which conveyed is a domesticated animal. Okay, thus the word dog itself, it's a constructions. And if you talk about the phrases or idioms, yeah, so idiomatic constructions, then the kick the bucket. To understand these words, okay, we could cannot be predicted from the individual words. Okay, so we have need to understand the whole sentence as a single constructions which meaning to die. And let me help you, uh, which means the offering help you or asking for help to someone. Now come to the cognitive grammar. This is very important and very interesting topic. One of mine. Okay, cognitive grammar. Cognitive grammar is a theoretical framework developed by Ronald Linguistics, one of the founder of cognitive linguistics. The central idea of cognitive grammar is that grammar is not spread from meanings. Meaning is in the grammar. Grammar and the meaning are not two separate things. Instead, grammar reflects the conceptualizations of a speaker, what the speaker want to say, and what would be or what will be the meaning of the way he is speaking while using a certain sort of grammar. And linguistic structures represent how speakers mentally perceive and describe the world. Thus, grammar is essentially symbolic because it connects linguistic forms with the meanings. And cognitive grammar also strongly support the usage-based thesis, which states that language structures developed from patterns of language use. We used how we use the language in use okay how we use the language in different patterns, and so the language construct in our mind, while the repetitions usage of that pattern of language. This means grammar emerges from repeated experiences of communication. For example, consider a sentence: the glass is half full, the glass is half empty. Both sentences describe the same physical situations, but they reflect a different conceptual perspective. So, if we talk about the glass is half full, which shows a positive framing, and the glass is half empty, which shows the negative framing. This sentence shows that grammar in language structures reflect how speaker conceptualize reality, which is the key idea in a cognitive grammar. And now come to the grammar in cognition. Cognitive linguistic views language is a part of general cognitive abilities, not is a completely separate mental module. Language relies on several cognitive processes such as perception, which means how we perceive objects and events, which means that how we are a speaker perceiving the events and the objects. And categorizations means that the grouping things into different categories, and memory is storing linguistic patterns of words or sentences, and attention, so focusing on a certain elements of meaning in a sentence or in a phrase, or maybe a single word. So thus linguistic knowledge emerges from general cognitive mechanism. uh, Consider an example, that is dog, cat, horse. Human categorize these as animal. Okay, and now we come to the usage-based perspective in cognitive grammar. Cognitive grammar strongly support the usage-based thesis, which states that language structure develops from repeated language use. Frequently, expressions become entrenched in the mind, meaning they becomes a strong store in memory. Over time, repeated expressions becomes fixed constructions. For example, common sentence, I don't know, you know, at the end of the day. At the end of the day, these phrases are used so frequently that a speaker often produced them automatically. Okay, and now we come to the conclusion of these topics. The first one is cognitive linguistic purposes that a language is a dynamic and usage-based system. It is not a fixed things. Okay, in a language, knowledge emerges from repeated communications. Grammar develops through interaction and social experiences. And sorry, linguistic structures reflect uh, sorry linguistic structures reflect human cognitions and conceptualization. This perspective contrasts with the theories that treat grammar as a fixed system of abstract rules.